So, Samriddhi, tell us about yourself.
So my name is Samriddhi Talwar. I'm from Delhi. I did my schooling from Mount Carmel School, Anand Niketan, and I completed my schooling in 2017. Thereafter, I pursued BBA LLB from the main campus of the Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University. I completed my LLB in 2022, and ever since then, I've been preparing for judiciary.
Uh, okay. Uh, what do you mean by replication? You heard
Yes,
about
sir.
the term replication in civil?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, replication is when the defendant has filed his written statement. In response to that, the plaintiff can file a response if any new matter has been raised by the defendant. That is called as a replication.
Okay. Suppose you have been selected for the post of judicial magistrate, and if a case comes to you where your close relative is involved, so how will you deal with it?
So the same, I would recuse myself. I would not try the case because in the Criminal Procedure Code under Section 379, the same has been held that a judge cannot try a case that he's personally interested in, and the same is also against the principles of natural justice.
Okay, and how will you deal with a situation where a lawyer misbehaves in your court?
So I will try to maintain my calm and maintain my composure and try to mitigate the situation as much as possible. And if the situation goes out of hand to the extent that the dignity of my court is in question, then I can also file contempt proceedings.
ओके, क्या डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट कंटेम्प्ट के लिए पनिश कर सकता है?
नहीं सर, डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोर्ट पनिश नहीं कर सकता है. मेट्रोपॉलिटन मैजिस्ट्रेट या जुडिशियल मैजिस्ट्रेट फर्स्ट क्लास हैज द कॉग्निजेंस फॉर द सेम एज पर द सीआरपीसी सेक्शन 340.
Okay, good. What do you mean by criminal conspiracy?
So Section 120A of the Indian Penal Code defines criminal conspiracy as an agreement between two or more persons to do an illegal act or a legal act by illegal means.
ओके, क्या किसी सिविल रॉन्ग के लिए कॉन्स्पायर करने को किसी भी सरकमस्टेंस में क्रिमिनल कॉन्स्पिरेसी कहा जा सकता है?
जी सर, कहा जा सकता है.
ओके, गुड. Suppose A abetted B, and at the time of commission of the offense, A also present there. तो उस पे अबेटमेंट ऑफ ऑफेंस का चार्ज लगेगा या उसका चार्ज बदल जाएगा?
सर, इस केस में उसका चार्ज बदल जाएगा क्योंकि सेक्शन 114 ऑफ द इंडियन पीनल कोड कहता है कि अगर कोई पर्सन जिसने एक्ट अबेट किया है वो प्रेजेंट है एट द सीन ऑफ द क्राइम, तो उस पे सेम चार्ज लगेगा एज द कमीशन ऑफ द ऑफेंस.
ओके, गुड. किस चीज पर इसका इफेक्ट आता है? मतलब
सॉरी सर,
हम अगर कोई ऑफेंस कमिट हो रहा है तो ऑफेंस करने वाले की जो पनिशमेंट होगी और अबेट करने वाले की जो पनिशमेंट होगी वो सेम होगी. तो अबेटमेंट ऑफ ऑफेंस ही हमने क्यों रहने नहीं दिया? हमने ये अलग से प्रोविजन ऐसा क्यों बनाया कि अबेट करने के बावजूद उस पर चार्ज ऑफेंस करने का लग रहा है? तो इससे क्या कभी आगे फ्यूचर में किसी भी चीज पर कोई प्रभाव पड़ेगा, कोई इफेक्ट आएगा? ऐसा क्यों किया गया?
सर
क्योंकि उसे
इन माय
सजा. जी 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 जी, बताइए.
सॉरी सर, इन माय ओपिनियन इट इज बिकॉज हम एक अबेटमेंट एक प्राइमरी ऑफेंस नहीं है, एक सपोर्टिव ऑफेंस है. एंड सिंस वो पर्सन प्रेजेंट है तो लॉ एक लीगल फिक्शन क्रिएट करता है, जो कहता है, एक प्रिजम्पशन क्रिएट करता है रैदर, जो कहता है कि अगर ये पर्सन प्रेजेंट था तो उन्होंने सिर्फ अबेट नहीं किया है, इन्होंने रैदर कमीशन ऑफ द ऑफेंस में भी पार्ट लिया है, तो एक सेकेंडरी ऑफेंडर से प्रिंसिपल ऑफेंडर बन जाएंगे.
उससे क्या इफेक्ट आएगा?
So, certain benefits cannot be given to such a person, such as probation, tender of pardon के लिए principal offender को नहीं दिया जाता है, तो ऐसे केस में tender of pardon उनको ना मिले, ऐसा हो सकता है. This is something I can think of right now.
चलिए.
Hi Samriddhi, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, sir. Thank you.
समृद्धि, आपका जो नाम है समृद्धि तलवार, राइट? तो
जी सर।
आप तलवार की इसके बारे में आपको पता है?
जी सर।
राइट, तो इफ आई मे आस्क, व्हाट आर द 3 थिंग्स दैट यू रिकॉल दैट वेंट रॉन्ग इन दैट? आपके ओपिनियन में क्या वो 3 चीजें होंगी?
Sir, in my opinion, the three things that went wrong, the first was the media trial. The media trial involved a lot of public attention where things could have been handled much better by investigative agencies. Udhar already media started blaming a lot of people, which changed people's perception and also impacted to a sense a fair trial. Secondly, sir, another thing I can think of is timely forensics को cater to नहीं किया गया था, because a lot of forensics could have been availed, due to which a better decision could have been come up with, a more technically sound decision could have been come up with. So these are two things I can think of right
Very
now.
well. Let's assume you are being the presiding judge in that case, and you see there is lack of investigation. The part of investigator was a clear utterance and misuse of law. So, what would you do if you came to know that the investigating team was not up to the mark and they were not on their toes to do the right job? What could have you done in that scenario?
So, since investigation is the wing of the executive and judiciary cannot intervene too much into it, however, as per the Sakeri Vasu judgment, if there is a flagrant abusive process by the investigative agency, the judiciary can direct better investigation. Since the investigation has already taken place, if there is any scope for any further investigation, I would have directed further investigation. Otherwise, I don't think so there was anything else that a presiding judge could have done.
Okay, very well, very well. The second question would be, who is the Chief Justice of Delhi High Court?
So the Chief Justice of Delhi High Court is Honorable Chief Justice Devendra Kumar Upadhyay.
Very well. And if I may ask, what is there any favorite judge that you follow in the current scenario in the legal current system, Supreme Court or High Court, anyone?
Yes, sir. I really enjoy reading the judgments of Honorable Miss Justice B.V. Nagarathna.
Can you name any 3 judgments that such judge has given? Any 3?
Yes, sir. One is X versus Union of India, wherein Honorable Miss Justice B.V. Nagarathna gave an opinion in a division bench with Justice Hema Kohli, where she said that if a woman has a complete bodily autonomy and a child in the womb of the woman cannot exist in independence of the woman, so the woman should have the right to abort the child if it is within the 4 corners of the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act. Another judgment I can think of, sir, is the recent judgment of Property Owners Association versus State of Maharashtra, where Honorable Miss Justice B.V. Nagarathna had partially dissented. And the third judgment is the Mineral Rights Development Authority of India versus Steel Authority of India, wherein B.V. Nagarathna, Honorable Miss Justice B.V. Nagarathna had dissented again and said that if states are given the right to obtain royalty over minerals, it will lead to a state of unhealthy competition between states. Thus, it must not be done.
Okay, very well. I see that you have been graduated from BBLLB University School of Law, Indraprasth University, right?
Yes, sir.
So there's a certain criteria that if you want to go through IP University, there's a criteria of 85% reservation for Delhi students, right? Am I wrong? Am I right?
So I apologize. I'm not very well aware of that. I'll read upon it.
Okay. There was a rule I don't know whether this rule is followed or not, but certain years back, there was a rule that 85% of the candidates that will be selected in IP University must be domiciled of Delhi. Is it fair, or is it arbitrary, or is it against constitution?
So, the same, I do not think it is arbitrary or against the constitution, because the place of domicile under Article 15 is not a ground to discriminate. It is not such a ground where persons can be discriminated on the basis of place of domicile. So therefore, it is not arbitrary. And in a recent case also, the Supreme Court, while judging the PG reservations, had said that although there should be no domicile criteria in PG reservations, the same is fair in UG reservations. Also, although that was said in the case of medical cases, but I believe that IP University was made for fulfilling a lack of professional education. So if a state makes such a law which says that a certain domicile can be of a particular state, that can be for the betterment of the state only. So I don't think it is violative of the constitution.
Okay, very well. Can you tell me what is the difference between offense and illegal? Are they synonymous in nature, or which of them have a wider impact?
Sir, they are not synonymous to each other. Illegal is much wider in ambit than an offense is. Both are defined in the IPC. Offense is under section 40 and illegal under section 43. And illegal includes something which is an offense, but it also includes any other act which furnishes a ground for civil action or is punishable under any other law. So,
Very good, very good. And the last question from my side will be, can you explain what is section 74 contract?
So Section 74 of the Indian Contract Act talks about liquidated damages. It says that if in a contract, parties have already stipulated a certain sum of money which will be payable in case of breach of contract, then which may be in the form of a liquidated damage, which is actual pre-estimation of loss or a penalty, the court cannot grant damages that exceed that amount.
Does Supreme Court has any findings in the recent time, like a day or two? Have you any idea about that?
I apologize, sir. I am not aware of such a recent finding.
Please have a look. Yesterday only Supreme Court told about the section 74 impact, and whether the terms and contract has been written about any point about any punishment or any compensation. The Supreme Court holds the power to decide whether such amount is reasonable or not. Okay, go through that once. Other than that, everything is good. So,
Samriddhi, first of all, tell me which subject do you like the most?
So I've prepared all my subjects, but I enjoy Indian Evidence Act quite a lot.
Indian Evidence Act. Okay. So tell me, section number 10 of Indian Evidence Act talks about the conspiracy. Is it? What is
Yes.
conspiracy?
So Section 120A of the Indian Penal Code says that conspiracy means an agreement to do an illegal act or a legal act by illegal means by two or more persons.
Okay. If 5 persons are there and out of those 3 have the common intention with respect to certain illegal offense, and 2 out of those 5, 2 knows about the conspiracy, but they are not actively taking part in that, are they also accused of that particular conspiracy? Yes or no?
No, sir. The latter two will not be, because in Nalini versus State of Tamil Nadu, the Supreme Court had said that mere knowledge of a conspiracy does not equate to participation, and all the parties who are held liable in a conspiracy must have participated in that conspiracy.
Very good. What is the basic difference between the article number 25 and 26 of Indian Constitution?
So Article 25 gives the right to every person, every citizen to practice, propagate and follow their own religious practices. Whereas Article 26 gives the right to persons of religious nature to manage their own affairs and properties. So the former is more individualistic in nature, while the latter might be a more community-driven right.
Okay. Article 26 of the Indian Constitution talks about a word, denomination, religious denomination. What does it mean?
So, although it has not been defined, but in the by the Constitution, but in Supreme Court has in a few cases discussed the definition of religious denomination. It may include a group of persons who practice a similar religion. I'm not very sure of it, but yes, this is what I can recall.
No problem. Tell me, Samriddhi, article number 61 and article number 56 talks about impeachment. Is it true or false?
So I apologize, I can't recall the exact article numbers. I'm sorry, I'll read upon it.
Tell me the ground on which the president of India can be impeached.
So the president of India can be impeached for violating any provision of the constitution.
Give me one example.
So may I take a moment, please?
Yeah.
So I can't think of anything right now. I apologize.
Okay, no problem. Have you heard about a very famous case, Ram Javaya Kapoor versus State of Punjab?
Yes, sir.
So it is related to?
So it relates to whether a president can act on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers, and whether the aid and advice is absolutely binding or not.
Good. There is also a very famous case on article number 21, Olga Telis versus Bombay Municipal Corporation. So
Yes,
in this
sir.
particular case, a very famous doctrine was evolved. Tell me that doctrine.
So I'm sorry, I can't recall it. I know that the case is about right to livelihood, but I can't recall the doctrine. I apologize.
Okay. Section number 54 of Indian Evidence Act talks about the previous bad character. It is related to civil cases only, or it also includes the criminal cases?
So Section 54 of Indian Evidence Act talks about previous bad character only in criminal cases, not in civil cases.
Criminal cases.
Yes, sir.
Section number 11 of Transfer Property Act talks about the directions which are given to for the beneficiary enjoyment of the transferor. Can you those directions are valid in nature, or they are nullity?
So the directions will be a nullity as per Section 11, but the transfer shall be valid.
Transfer shall be valid. What
Yes.
Section number 11 is also an exception to which section of the Transfer Property Act? Okay, I'm just modifying the question. If you say that the directions will be nullity and the transfer will be valid, so in section number 17 of Transfer Property Act, the directions are given. Are those directions also nullity, or they are valid?
So Section 17 talks about doctrine of accumulation. The directions shall be valid until they fulfill the certain essentials of Section 17, which is that they are for the lifetime of the transferor or until 18 years. So till that extent they are valid. Any direction post that shall be void.
Okay, if there is a direction given by the owner of the society that everyone who is owning the flat in this particular society has to give the maintenance, is this particular condition or direction is valid or not for the transfer of the property, during the transfer of property?
So I believe it will be a valid condition,
And
because it does not create any restraint on any enjoyment. It is rather for the benefit of the property.
okay, so it is a violation of section number 11 that all the directions which are given for the beneficiary enjoyment of the transferor is nullity. And if you are saying this particular statement or this particular direction is valid, then how can you explain these two things? Are they contrary to each other, or there is certain doctrine to related to this?
So I don't think it violates Section 11, because Section 11 only restricts those conditions which are repugnant to the interest of the transfer of the person to whom it is transferred. Whereas in this case, the amount for maintenance is rather for the welfare and the benefit of the property, and will be enjoyed by the transferee himself. So it is not a condition that is repugnant to the interest. Rather, a condition that is repugnant may be that the transferee cannot transfer the property to any other person except, say, X person, or cannot transfer it for a particular very long period of time. Such conditions shall violate. This will not violate, sir.
Very good. Good. Okay. If I take an example that if a person has filed a plaint in a incompetent jurisdiction, in a court of incompetent jurisdiction, the plaint will be rejected by the court, yes or no?
So returning the plaint will be a better alternative, sir.
Better alternative, or it's always It is mandatory that
Yes, sir. That is what shall be done. Return of claim shall be done, sir.
return or rejection.
Return, sir, under Order 7, Rule 10.
Okay, very good. My last question for today's interview is, tell me two things in which I think you haven't written the hobby. Let me just see. Okay, you have written the hobby cooking. So tell me two things in which you use ginger, okay, as a very important essential element for cooking that particular dish. Two dishes.
So ginger is used a lot in Asian cooking. So if one is making, say, dumplings, then ginger is a very important ingredient in that. Also, sir, because of winters, we're drinking a lot of ginger, honey, and lemon tea. So ginger is a very essential component of that also, if that counts as a dish.
Nice, very good. Okay. Samriddhi, from my side, I just want to say that your law is very good, your understanding is very good, your fluency is very good, and the most important thing that you know and how to respond to the question. This was very good in you, and मुझे नहीं लगता कि कोई भी ऐसा reason है जिसकी वजह से आप select नहीं होंगे. You are going to be selected in the examination. From my side, it's all good. Best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
मेरी साइड से भी परफेक्ट इंटरव्यू. तो
Thank you, sir.
मेरे हिसाब से तो इस इंटरव्यू के लिए और कुछ नहीं चाहिए. तो मेरे हिसाब से भी आप, मतलब अगर सब कुछ अच्छा रहा तो आप जज बन जाएंगे इस बार.
Thank you, sir.
So, Samriddhi, same goes from my side. Everything is good. The way you are putting the words into your answer, that is wonderful. Just keep looking on to that. Other than that, you are very young, 99 born. So there may be some issues, there may be some questions that आप बहुत young हो अभी, तो आप कैसे handle करोगे pressure, and other than that, वो सारी चीजें पूछी जा सकती हैं. But looking at your achievements, you can justify your age, right? You can justify that. So keep that in note. Other than that, everything is wonderful. Just be sure that you go with at least 1 week legal currents. Just go through that. What
Yes.
some of the judges in high courts are very favorable and they are very popular. Like Honorable Justice Swarnakant Sharma, it's like it is wonderful. So have some opinion about some of the judges. It will help you and motivate you on the way through that. Right. Other than that, all the very best. You will succeed. Just be
Thank you, sir.
focused and be confident, but don't be overconfident. Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So can I ask a question? If that.
Sure, please.
So I tend to speak a little fast. So was my speed okay?
The speed is good. It was clear. The most prominent point is that you must be audible. So
Alright,
even
sir.
if there will be some very old interviewer in your panel, then just give regards to him that he's able to understand you. That is it. Other than that,
Understood.
speed was fine, I believe.
And you have done one thing which was not there in any other candidate, that you were responding in the same language which was in which the question was asked. So this was very good. So this is a very unique feature, because every other candidate which we have faced, they were speaking only in English. Either the question was asked in Hindi or it was in English. They were only speaking English. But make sure that if the examiner is asking you the question in Hindi, then try to explain him in Hindi only. And if he or she is asking in English, then you are very much comfortable with English. So it's good. So this was a very unique feature of yours. And I guess आप इस interview में 100% succeed हो जाएंगी. And best of luck from my side.
Best of luck.
Sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Should I leave the meeting?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.